Guess who's back? John Goodwin, welcome back to the show.
Thank you very much, Keno. It's great to be back again.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you, man, for the second time, on the podcast. We last spoke in mid-November last year. It's good to have you back. It's another milestone. This is the first time I've had a guest come back for a second appearance. Yeah, really.
Wow.
Really, it's the first time.
I feel special. I feel honored. Thank you.
No, thank you, man. Thank you. The honor is all mine. I got a list, and there's been requests of, creators out there who want to come back, especially after their new book is out, on the author side. And, when it comes to musical artists, of course, when their new album or new track is back, they want to come back onto the podcast to chat about that and that process. But you're the first. You're the first for the new year that's back. And yeah, once again,
there we go.
So the last time we spoke, it was a 2-hour conversation. We touched on so many topics, from AI to nurturing of independent creatives. We talked about, writers and illustrators of the future. We talked about your history. We talked about what you do. We talked about Galaxy Press. Like, we touched on all of it. So for the listeners who want to get to know John Goodwin, in depth, please reference back to that episode. It still is up on Spotify, so you can check that out. But I mean, John, just to get started, we can just do a quick recap, about you and who you represent and the organizations that you represent.
Sure. So I'm the president of Galaxy Press. We publish all the fiction works of L. Ron Hubbard. We also publish a book, an annual anthology called Writers of the Future. And last year, we had just finished publishing this volume here, volume 40, which I had done in the hopes of getting enough people entering from South Africa that we can get another winner. We've had, I think, 3 or 4 winners over the years from South Africa. The main problem we've had is getting the visas. So hopefully you're going to be able to break through that wall of visas to be able to come to our rewards event where we release this one. This is volume 41 that we'll be releasing next month in April. And so the main thing with this contest, it was created by L. Ron Hubbard in 1983 to provide an opportunity for aspiring writers and artists to have their works seen and acknowledged. We've published then the yearly anthology. This one I just showed, the last one I just showed you is volume 41. So that's 41 years of 12 writers and 12 artists that are being published. And it's become the most successful and most prestigious of all the different writing competitions in the world because it's free to enter. You can upload your story or your art, 3 pieces of art. You maintain all the rights to your work. It's free to enter. The judging is blind so that all that the judges see is your story or your art and a number assigned to it. So they have no idea of your nationality, your ethnic, your sex, age, anything. So we've had winners from 50 different countries. We've had winners ranging from, I think, 16 years old up to mid to late 70s. So in the youngest, we've had, kids have entered the contest. And I think the oldest was 101 years old or something like that, where they've entered the contest. So it's just to encourage the arts. So that's pretty much an overview. I've been involved in publishing since 1986. And so that's where I'm at. I'm located here in Hollywood, California. And right behind me is Hollywood Boulevard. That way, about 100 yards is the Chinese Theater where they have the Oscars. So there you go. And that way, about 10 miles, 11 miles is the ocean.
So you're quite in the center of it all, the excitement of Hollywood.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, we're going to say something else?
No, it's just, we'll use the broad definition of excitement.
Just by the way, off topic, with the wildfires, were you okay?
Yeah, The Hollywood Hills fires got to about 3 blocks away from us, because I'm at the foot of the Hollywood Hills. So it was about 3 blocks away. We had all of our staff who were outside with hoses and buckets, and we were watering down everything, making sure that if there were any embers, that they would be doused right away, and there's nothing that could catch fire. Fortunately for us, the worst that we had was one night of power outage, but otherwise we didn't have any, because they're right here in the proper of Hollywood proper. So even though it did get very close, it didn't get adversely affect us. The Palisades fire, which is by the ocean, that was about 10, 11 miles. The main thing there is the air was just so thick with smoke and with burned ash and stuff like that. And so the air quality was very, very bad, because there's a lot of also other toxic substances that were burned. So that all became in the smoke. So there you go.
Yeah. But I'm sure even though it didn't directly affect you, it wasn't a cool experience, to
Definitely
be
not a cool experience.
a
A lot of
cool
people lost their
experience.
homes. A lot of people,
Yeah.
a lot of trauma. My church, the Church of Scientology, organized a program called Volunteer Ministers, where we had 1,000 volunteers with their yellow shirts who went around and helped the aftermath, help people, get back on their feet, clear away the burn, the kludge, help sift through the ash to recover, precious jewelry and personal items that weren't destroyed, and help to give that back to them. So that was quite an evolution there. The Volunteer Ministers, it's a very huge program in South Africa, in Gauteng. During the whole pandemic, there was, I think, 3,500 people from South Africa that got trained in the Volunteer Minister program and went around helping other people during the whole pandemic thing. So it's important that we help, one's fellow. That's just an important thing to do.
Yeah, 100%. And these are the heroes that are not mentioned,
Right.
The heroes that are never mentioned, the people behind the scenes that are actually doing something about, situations, disasters that is out of our control. So big ups and respect to all the heroes out there that don't get recognition, but you don't do what you do as well to get recognition.
Right.
You
do it to help your fellow man.
Exactly. It's for the benefit,
Yeah.
of humanity. So thank you to all the heroes out there around the world. And how are things at the moment in Hollywood? Are things coming together?
They're working on getting it together. There's a lot of, we need the humanity stuff to really come together. There's a lot of posturing on the part of politicians, like you have the whole blame thing and the whole, all kinds of stuff like that. We just, I'm definitely not impressed with our politicians, but I am impressed with with the people that have stepped up to help their neighbors and to help other people get back on the feet. There's lots of problems. The cost of living in California is so high, and it continues to go up. And the cost of construction of putting houses back together again continues to go up. So it's just that part's not good. But yeah.
Well, I mean, we living in very uncertain times globally. There's a lot happening at the moment. So all we can do, as humans, is be as much united as possible.
Yeah.
Which way, I mean,
I've been around. I've gone through the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s, and there've been many uncertain times, and you'll find there's a certain type of person that's always trying to spread the doom and gloom. I experienced when Kennedy was assassinated. but it's also there when we landed on the moon that same decade. I missed the draft in Vietnam by a month. So it's, I've experienced in my youth the stuff. And the main thing is like, you need to watch it with who you listen to, what you watch. Where if you have a steady stream of bad news, you're going to be seeing life through those lenses. And if all you're going to do is listen to your political party, then anybody else in your political party are the devil. And you need to open your eyes and just see what's really out there. Sure, you need to listen to your political party, but check what else is happening too, because you're going to find that if life is going on, then there's people out there making it go on.
Yeah.
Those who say, the end is at hand, prepare for, doomsday. They've been around for decades, hundreds of years. They're all, you can read older books about the people that are always gossiping and rumor mongering. So you need to have shows like what you have, Kino, that just spread the good news and help encourage and support. Those things is what drives the forward progress of humanity. It's not the guys that say we must fight, we must attack, we must stop these people.
Yeah.
They've been around for a long time, and they're not making the world a better place. Never have.
100%. 100%. I agree with you. Crazy enough, this is the third time this week that the topic of, how important podcasts are at the moment, for the world globally. It came up on my podcast on Monday. It came up on Tuesday. Because now that we have podcasts, now we can get the truth, we can get facts, we can get proper nurturing advice, from like sources that really know what they're doing and are going based on data and going based on facts. That's why podcast is playing such a critical role now. So on my side, I'm also thankful that every week, I have 3 to 4 guests that come on where, it's truth speaking. It's people that are here to really help, really a way you can get it. Because, I spoke to an author on Monday who was a journalist prior to becoming, an author. And we touched on, the red tape in journalism in 2025 and how fear sells more than anything else. And also reference it back, to my own community newspaper. Each and every single Thursday that I pick it up, it's always something bad that's happening.
Yeah.
Never good. You mentioned, the contestants, from South Africa, right? The last time we spoke, I told you I was going to reach out to the media to say, look, I know a guy. His name is John. This is what he's doing. And I've done that. But they don't want to get into it. It's like they don't want to give these opportunities to people, to creators, which makes the work that I'm attempting to do on my side of the world, like harder. And I'm sure anyone else out there, it makes it harder. And you keep reaching out and they'll get back to you. Sounds cool, sounds interesting, but nothing ever comes of it. And if something does come of it, it's not on the front page, you have to go like 10 pages in. Oh, there's it there. Look what these people are doing. But on the front page to the 10th page is everything going wrong. Everything going wrong.
Yeah, they've bought into the Yidel journalism and the idea that you need to have today's modern journalism. You have to have harm, you have to have violence, you need to have controversy, you need to have big money, big names. Those are all the ingredients. And the more of those you have in a story, the closer it's going to be to the top right column of the front page. That is the number one story. And it's got the most of those items in it, so you're going to find all the controversy. And if you have, these little kids save a grandmother from whatever, it's a great feel-good story. But in order to fit in that front page, the grandmother has to have been a prostitute 40 years ago, or or is suspected of being a prostitute, or suspected of running guns, before she became destitute. So they got to put some little twist into it, and it's sad, but people then buy into that. But at least in America, the newspapers are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. The subscriptions are like decreasing. And like you're talking about the podcast, people are listening more and more to podcasts to get news from people they trust. And it's also an opportunity for someone to say, okay, I'm a podcaster and I'm going to give my story, put my twist on it. That may or may not be true. They might have their own little twist on it, but you're not forced to have a diet of any of these 3 or 4 news sources that you have to listen to, which are owned by whoever is getting the most advertising money. So usually it's going to be the drug companies, and they're going to be pushing the value and the virtues of the drugs and the medications and going to the doctor and all this stuff here. And anything that would have you get better without medicine is bad. It's quackery. So that's just, that's starting to go away in the United States because there's more and more people have experienced the bad effect of this effect. And I'll keep it very general here so you don't get shut down as your podcast for my saying something that's that violates.
I think we're cool. I think if they wanted to shut down podcast, it'll probably be like an empty stage at the moment, for any podcaster, because these are topics that just come up in any sector. It's natural, it's coming up, it's there. You jump on social media, the topics are there. They're not shutting it down. It's conversations, that each person wants to have. And I mean, the key thing about podcasts is to have like a panel, whether it's 2, whether it's 3, up to 4. I've been in one up to 10, where you just share thoughts and ideas, and it's coming from different people from all around the world. Sure. And you start to realize, hey, you know what's happening in my part of the world is also happening in that part of the world. But thanks for your input on that. I'm not sure if I mentioned this to you in November, but there's another podcast I would love to invite you onto. It's called Creating Team Human. I don't think I did remember. So there's only one episode that's been released of it, and it was created by, do you know Don Sawyer from Canada? He's also an author, and he's also under Mickey. Have you heard of him?
Maybe I've heard that name, but he's got a show? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, I had him on, my podcast once, and just like all my shows, they always go in so many different directions. And,
sure.
After the show, he hits me back up and he's like, what, I think we need to take the topics we discussed there and we need to take it global and we need to make it viral. So we did the first panel, on Zoom. We had 10 guests from all around the world. We had a guest that was like in the middle of, war zones and so on, coming on, making time to come on to tell us what's going on, in the Middle East and so on. Like they were just scattered,
Yeah.
And we came on and everyone just like, shared their thoughts and ideas. And the whole point of the podcast is just to bring, more unity in the world. If we, as you said, you're going to keep listening to what the politicians are saying, we're not going to make any progress as humans. Okay. And right. To the creators out there, it's what I always tell creatives out there, is that if you are, following what the mainstream is telling you to do to excel in your career, you are not going to get there. You're definitely not. It's not meant to be. But if you remain independent and you jump onto shows and listen to shows such as this, you will get that guidance. Look at the opportunities that you are offering. I mean, I sent stats once upon a time, to you as well. Like, it's crazy how I do this podcast in South Africa, but I don't know whether it's because South Africans or independent creators have just lost hope. I've come across people where it's come to a stage where, look, I'm too lazy to actually take the next step, or maybe I'm too scared of success, or I'm too scared it's not going to work out, so why should I even try? Why should I enter the contest? More bulk of my audience is global. then compared year. So, it's those sort of stuff, is going on. But I actually, excuse me for 1 second. So one of my coaches, we had a Zoom call on Tuesday. So he's like, look, if this is the issues you're having currently in South Africa, in bringing more creators into the consulting agency, then it's better you not necessarily stop, but you need to start looking for your clients now globally. Okay, you can still focus on South Africa, but clearly it's not working. Clearly, what we've been doing till date is not working. So because I've got this international audience, let's focus on them. Let's try focus on them. So of course now he's given me a few courses to go over online and so on, and that's where now I need to now turn my attention to. So I'm trying to get to it.
Sure,
to
that's fine, but realize there are other people like you there too.
Yeah,
there are other keynotes in South Africa.
Exactly. Yeah, he is. And the question that keeps coming, is like, if you're a creative writer, you're a great writer, or you're a great drawer, I mean, you've got a huge opportunity with someone like John. It's a huge opportunity. There's no one else offering this sort of opportunity in South Africa. So why not jump on it? The media is failing to jump on it. It's like, no, we'll keep them there. It's cool. So, but just out of curiosity, since the last time we spoke, so correct me if I'm wrong in anything I'm stating at the moment. So we are about to conclude quarter 1 of the contest.
Yes, well, we're about ready to conclude quarter 2 of year 42. So we are going to be this is volume 41, and
Correct.
this we'll be publishing it hopefully at the event you're going to be attending next month, and then it'll release in South Africa in June. And we're already moving on year 42 now. So it runs from October to December is quarter 1, January through March is quarter 2, and then April through June is quarter 3, and July through October, or through the end of September, is quarter 4. So that's how it runs, 4 quarters every year. So we're about ready to end quarter that goes from January to March, which is the second quarter for year 42.
Okay.
And then it automatically rolls over into quarter 3. The thing that we recommend is that if you're an artist or a storyteller, submit your story or your art, and then submit again a new set of stories or art the next quarter, and keep on doing it. And some of the people that really take this to heart, it's an opportunity. It doesn't cost you anything other than your creativity to create new stories or art, to submit and get feedback. So you'll get the worst that's going to happen is you get an email saying, thank you very much for submitting, submit again. And if your skin is so thin that you can't have anything other than being the winner, then you need to overcome that. You need to realize that there's some amazingly talented people out there, and you're competing against 175 other countries. But if you win, you're flown out to Hollywood. You get a week-long workshop with some of the biggest names, like this cover here was painted by Craig Elliott. He's the art director for Disney, for Netflix. This is one of his concepts from Treasure Planet, which he was the art director for. So, he's amazing. He's a brilliant art director, and he'll be one of the ones teaching students at the winning artists. So he's an amazing person. So that's the kind of people. The person that wrote Ender's Game will be here. The person that wrote On Stranger Tides that got made into Pirates of the Caribbean, he's an instructor. The guy that created, Known Space, Larry Niven, which is a very famous science fiction grandmaster. So the guy that wrote Flash Forward, that TV series for ABC, he'll be here. So we have those types of the guy that writes all the Dune books that get made into the Dune movies. He'll be there.
Wow.
So those are the kind of people that are there that instruct the winners each year. So for them, it's important because they had their heroes teaching them when they were just starting out, and they were helping apprenticing them and giving them, their hard-won advice on how to move forward in a career as a writer or an artist. So that's what we have here. So it costs you nothing. And even if you win, it still costs you nothing because you're flown out, And if you are,
Yeah.
even are so poor that you can't afford anything, we even provide snacks and waters and coffee and tea for people that can't afford anything. So we at least have protein bars and chips and stuff like that for people to snack on throughout the workshop, just in case. So we try to really help the artists, because it's understood that, when you're just starting out, you don't have lots of money, but you don't need lots of money.
Yeah. Look at that. I mean, I recall also stating that in, the first time we spoke. Like, what more could you ask for? All you have to do is put in the effort. Put in the effort. Submit it. You never know what can happen. And if you get, as you said, you get an email that you didn't make it, try again. There's a reason that you are telling them to try again. Then you go back and you try again. You don't just stop at first rejection. With anything in life. Both of us wouldn't be where we are now. We wouldn't be on this podcast now if we stopped at our first failure, first setback. Come on.
Yes. And if you have a partner, like if you have a husband or a wife or a daughter or a dad or a mom who you think are really good, encourage them to enter the contest. We've even had people enter on behalf of somebody else. And then when they got the call saying congratulations, they say, congratulations for what? Said, you won. What did I win? It's because the wife or the husband or the daughter submitted the story or the art for them because they were convinced they weren't good enough, but they really were, So the guy I'm talking about, the guy that painted this, the guy's the art director for Disney and Netflix. He knew about this contest at the very beginning. He never entered because he didn't think he was good enough. So that just, I look at it and I go like, that's crazy. You're amazing. Well, he was so introverted. Artists can be very introverted. So, support your artists, help them, encourage them, because it doesn't cost them anything. And if they're worried, I don't want people to think I'm bad, nobody's going to know who you are. All the judges see is a number. They don't even know what your name is or where you're from or anything. And so the only time your name is found out is when you become a finalist and you're almost. So there. Enter.
Yeah. So what you're going to do is enter, that part right there. That's what I should actually when I do my reels for each of my shows, that part right there. I don't know how many times, I have to say this. So from the last time we spoke until now, out of curiosity, once again, let's put Africa in general. Has there been any submissions?
Well, so in terms of submissions, I think we've had 5 winners over the 41 years from Africa. And the main reason why there aren't more winners is because I love the art. There's no, if you look, I can't show you this year's art yet, but we've had, like this is the grand prize winner that year. That's in Africa, so you got all types of art that's done here. You've got like Korean, Vietnamese, Chinese, from the United States, from throughout Europe. So we have all types of art. It's not just a certain type of art that will win. It's got to be very creative. It's just.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah. It's just, it's amazing what artists can do. So it's, it's just all over the place on what
Yeah,
art
yeah.
of what art will win. So you don't have to do a Disney princess. That won't do anything for you. You'll get a reject on that because you're copying Disney. But
Yeah.
it's not that type of. It's not a Netflix. It's not a comic book. It's not. It's got to be your creativity, and it's got to be illustration. So that's all it is. And you'd be surprised that this isn't the art that was submitted to win. This is after they've submitted and won the contest. They're then sent one of the winning stories to illustrate. So that's what this is. That's illustrations of the stories that won the contest. If you want to see what art actually wins, you can go to writersofthefuture.com/blog, and you can see this year's winners and the 3 pieces of art that they submitted to win the contest. And you can go back last year and see the blog that has all the winners from volume 40 and see what they submitted to win. So you can see how good you have to be to win. So we try to be as visible as possible so that you can just see, okay, what's winning? What happens?
Yeah. 100. Okay, thanks for the clarity on that.
Yeah.
So Q2. So you have the 41st Achievement Annual Award. The gala is coming up on 10th of April.
10th of April, yes.
Thank you
We have
once
a very
again.
famous person attending. His name is Kino Isaac from South Africa.
Thank you. I'm honored, and thank you so much, for the personal invite. It's going to be quite an experience for me. You see, this is me being so optimistic, and if you're from South Africa listening to this, because I still have to go through the whole visa process. But I'm optimistic, I'm positive, that'll come through because, this is going to be a positively overwhelming experience for me to witness, what goes on at the awards, and also to have the opportunity to sit down and have a chat, with the winners of the contest as well.
For
and
sure.
of course,
It'll be great for you to talk with them and send it back and get your fellow creatives in South Africa. We've had winners from 50 countries, so that includes South Africa and 1 or 2 other countries. I don't remember off the top of my head right now, but yeah, but mostly from South Africa.
So let's touch on, the 41st award. Like, wow, how was the first award? That's do you have like a clear visual memory of it?
I came on board on year 2. So that's when I arrived.
Right.
So I arrived in 1986 and that was in 1985. But
year 2 is still quite close.
yeah, it is. So it's grown so much. We get a lot of entries from all over the world. When we first started, it was entries from the United States and maybe a few from Canada. But now what happened was when the internet came into its own and we were able to set up our computer, the website, WritersOfTheFuture.com, so people could upload their story directly into a portal. That's when it really skyrocketed because then people could enter from wherever they were in the world as long as they had internet. So there wasn't a problem. And so people could enter their art. They could enter their story and it was free. And the thing that's about it too is that when you send something, like if you send 3 pieces of art from another country, it's expensive. You have to make a copy and then you have to mail it. It can spend a lot of money. So by getting rid of that cost, we're able to get people from all over the world entering. So we've had entries from over 175 countries now. And so it's it continues to grow. And we just encourage them by like our show here. It will, from people listening now, you're making your show go more international. So you reach a whole different audience. And if someone goes to writersofthefuture.com and just flips through it, they can see the various judges. They can see the various winners. They can go back. We've got photo galleries going back so they can see, some of the most amazing people that have been involved with the contest since it began. So the guy
Yeah.
that wrote Dune, Frank Herbert, he was one of the first judges. And when he passed away, his son, Brian Herbert, became a judge. So it carries that whole thing, forward. And Brian Herbert and Kevin Anderson are the ones that write the Dune stories. And they're the executive producers of all the Dune movies now. And there's a new Dune TV series that they also helped provide by writing a book that the TV series is based on. So we have, that type of thing. We've got Nnedi Okorafor, who is her parents are from Nigeria. She wasn't born in Nigeria, but she's gone back and forth, and she's won multiple awards in Africa. She writes about African futurism, mystical type fantasy that she writes, and so she was published in volume 19, and she became a judge, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. Just a real lovely woman, and she's we try to use that to be able to promote and get more African winners. So yeah. But she's just great, and we've had I've had so many amazing people involved with the contest and working to pay it forward to not only their type of artists, but also to artists in general. Like, look, this is for everybody. It's not like the contest is not it's not pro or against woke. It's not pro or against any political thing. It's not political. It's not any sexual agenda. It's just straight about art and creativity. So that's what it is. We don't have an agenda. So if you're writing a book that's very heavily promoting down with the empire, you're not going to win. Or down with sex, you're not going to win. But if it's a great story, if it's a great creative story, more power to you. And if it's the illustration is just creativity on a science fiction or fantasy basis, then great, more power to you. We just need creativity. We need to celebrate life, and that's what these contests are.
Life is creativity.
Yeah.
Is creativity. I just wanted to say one thing, for the listeners, when it comes to the creative space, and also recall mentioning this on Sunday, but the tables were reversed. I was a guest on another show. I said, what I'm saying here may sound complex because the space is complex, but that is why we have the website. So reach out if you don't understand, the conversation between John and I at the moment. Reach out. It will be in the description. It's there. The first time we spoke, it's still there. The website is there. Reach out if you don't understand. Send an email. Please explain further. I'm sure you have had people reach out and like, okay, I don't understand. Can you please elaborate on this? What does this mean? And I got no doubt, being the person who you are, that you and your team do assist with those,
right?
Queries. Because it can be complex. It can be confusing for people. Okay, what does John mean by that, or true story? And look, we did touch on AI in the first episode. Okay, no AI artists. No AI artists.
Nope.
John will pick it up. John's team will pick it up.
That's right. Because if there's any question, all we do is say, okay, send us your layered files. And if it's AI art, there are no layered files. It's just, boom, you give your prompts and it gives you the art. So it becomes, it's self-defeating, but that's not the purpose of the contest. It's for creatives. So we don't want, if all you want to do is short circuit and take shortcuts, and that's the kind of life you want to live, that's not what this contest is about.
Yeah, look for an AI contest. It's the same with music. When you create, when you compose, there's stems, right? The stems. Each element is there.
Mm-hmm.
So same in reference. To any musicians that are listening, what John has just mentioned is the same as STEMs. You need to prove, right? You need to prove how you actually came about it. Okay, so we were on the 41st gala that's coming up, 10th April, Los Angeles. It's going down. There's this famous guy called Kino Isaac who's going to be there.
That's right. That's right. I'm not going to miss it for the I'm not going to miss it for the world.
Yeah. So when it comes to the gala itself, so book is 41. The award show is 41. You're going to have the contest winners, correct me if I'm wrong once again, from 41. They're going to be at the gala 41. Awards are going to be presented. Without giving away too much. Okay, the first question is the gala open to like the community to purchase a ticket?
It's a no, there's no it's by invite only, and it's basically the winners and their family and select guests. These would be the Hollywood producers, directors, other science fiction writers, big science fiction super fans, the people that would go on and they themselves are major influencers that would go out there and they'll talk about it and they'll send pictures. The main thing we do is it's a live broadcast that you go to WritersOfTheFuture.com. You can actually see the broadcast of the event as it's in live, as it's happening. And then once it's over, we'll then archive it so you'll be able to see it on YouTube afterwards, whenever. So it's about a 2 hours and 15 minutes or so. It'll start promptly at 6, and it goes on. It opens with we have a magician, Masters of Illusion magician. He'll start the show this year, so that'll be a lot of fun. And then we get into the actual event.
Since it's in Hollywood, it's the Oscars for creators.
That's right. That's right.
That's what it, guys. It's the Oscars for creators. So when it comes to the contestants, from which countries are we expecting?
So this year we have, we have China, UK, Canada, obviously US, and not Ukraine, but a neighboring country. It's I think maybe Yugoslavia.
Wow.
Yeah.
That deep in. The power of the internet.
Yeah.
Power of the internet. Oh, so that's quite a wide
and she'll have a translator. The girl there, she doesn't speak English. So we'll have a translator there for her when she goes to the illustrator contest, but that's fine. That's part of the package, if she won because of her creativity, not because she speaks English.
And she's getting flown over.
Yeah.
She's getting flown over and she's going to be at the awards. So the percentage-wise, when it comes to how many of the contestants are writers, illustrators, does it balance out? Is there more writers than illustrators?
There's more writers because the contest is 5 years older. But I was going to say, you can say maybe you got this many writers and that many illustrators. I won't give you numbers, but it's about
Yeah. I mean, that's the purpose of the book, because now, within this discussion, we're connecting the dots, the gala, the book, so the gala, then will come the book.
Yeah. And then the thing with this too is that we're going to make 12 new best-selling authors and 12 new best-selling artists to help launch their careers. So we've almost hit 1,000 now over the 41 years. So it's exciting, knowing that you're helping to launch these careers, and helping them get their start. Obviously, they need to keep on writing or keep on doing their art, but this gives them an amazing launch to a career. And then we set them up with media, so you'll be there, you'll interview them, and so they'll get, the reach that you have We have someone else, another media that comes in. He's got a show that reaches about 140 countries. He gets like 4 million listeners to his shows. So he'll be there promoting it. We have probably about 20 to 30 media will be on hand to interview the winners. Yeah.
It's quite a start, eh? Quite a start. And if we reference back to what we both said, guys, it's for free to enter. It's for free to enter. What a start to actually getting. But it's up to you even after that phase of being at the contest, getting the support from the media personnel that will be attending. It's still up to you as a creator, to go back home and just take further action to continue building your career. Don't get too caught up, in that moment, the honeymoon phase of it. It's still up to you to go back now and build your brand. But this is a brilliant starting point. And John, I'm sure if you look back, on your years, coming up, if I look back even on my years, it wasn't that easy. You know what I mean? It wasn't that easy as well. So, I mean, it's a huge, opportunity and chance.
Right.
Anything further, and above to the gala itself?
The main thing with the gala is that it's also the first book signing. They're going to be out there and they're going to have hundreds of people coming to them to get their book signed. So it's pretty trippy that you've got now a winning author who has Orson Scott Card, one of the most famous authors of science fiction and fantasy, coming up and saying, "Will you sign my book for me?" For them, it's very surreal. These are the people that these writers have been reading since they were first able to read, and now they're coming up to them asking for their signature. They kind of go like, "Whoa," or the again with you got these artists, that are the creative minds behind some of the biggest grossing movies in Hollywood that are there teaching them. It's surreal, so that's something that's really, really cool. And so it's a black tie event. So you've got everybody there very excited and looks very formal and stuff like that. And it's considered to be the Oscars of science fiction and fantasy. It's that level of an event. It's way cool. So that was, and we're tasked with making each year better than the previous year. So it makes it a real challenge to do that. But when no one had created the contest, he wanted he said, have a bang up show in Hollywood. So bang up keeps on getting redefined each year to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and more elaborate and more media and more this and more that. So that's what we're working on right now. So we're, I'm finalizing who the keynote speaker is going to be, and then finalizing, the guest list and all kinds of stuff like that. So it's quite amount of work to pull off.
Yeah. When you think about the amount of time, money, investment that comes from your end into this, it's extraordinary. It's mind-blowing.
Yeah, there's a lot of work that goes into it for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of, that goes into it, to give creators this sort of opportunity, this sort of platform, this red carpet experience that was never, even though it's been going on, for so many years, but like in modern day, like we still have creators that are looking up, at their idols, but still concentrated, solely focused on them instead of 80% focused on themselves, where they can be on that same red carpet within the independent space. It's a space on its own. There's the mainstream and then there's the independent space and it's on its own. Yeah. And it's growing.
Yeah.
So that's where you want to be at. That's where you want to be at.
Exactly.
Yeah. So with issue 41 now, the book 41 now, do you want to confirm the dates when it'll be
Yeah,
out?
so it's going to be available. It'll be April 10th is when you can watch it live on if they go to writersofthefuture.com, and otherwise it'll be released in South Africa as a print book. I think it's June 20th, but you'll also be able to get it on Amazon, because Amazon's growing quite a bit in South Africa, I believe. But it'll be in the bookstores, and it'll be on Amazon there in middle of June. And then you'll be able to get, I think you can get the ebook if you want to just get the ebook immediately, it'll be available once we release it on April 20th. We have our event, and then it's shipping to all the bookstores, and then it'll be in the bookstores where people will find it inside there, but you'll be able to find it on Amazon as well.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. Amazon is sort of taking over the game in South Africa.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, it's quite easy, accessible. It's just phenomenal, It's just so phenomenal, especially when you mention, the young lady, from Europe coming over, and I'm just thinking, like, that's how far deep down it actually goes.
Yeah, it's
to get there.
It really is international.
So once we're done with the current gala that's coming up, and the book release, so now we will be entering quarter 3 of the contest. So this is when now you on your end, you open up again for submissions.
Yeah, so we'll continue rolling, and then we're also scheduling lots of media for the winners for them to talk about their new book, because now it's a matter of selling the book and getting them their recognition as an author or as an artist. So we do media all over the place, and we do, wherever we can, set up bookstore events so they can go into the bookstores and do autographings. So that's the next phase of what happens after the event. Then we do stuff to help them launch their careers. And when people see that, then they'll talk about the contest, and they'll talk about how they did it and how they entered. And someone will say, yeah, I've entered 20 times. One person, when I talked to him, he said, yeah. He was a little bit embarrassed. He said, yeah, I only submitted the one time. I said, well, great. That happens too. But the average time for entering the contest is maybe 12, maybe 15 times before a person actually wins. That's fine. It's just, it's a process.
Yeah, 100%. But once again, guys, there's nothing, you don't understand something that's been said by John, please reach out.
Yeah.
Please reach out.
Yeah, I've got a Facebook page. It's John Goodwin ASI. ASI stands for Author Services, Inc. That's the literary agency. But you can see this face here, and that's what it looks like on the Facebook page too. If you search John Goodwin, there's several John Goodwins, but just I am very busy, so I don't spend a whole lot of time on social media. But if you send me something there, I will also respond.
Yeah. And I mean, guys, if you, shy to reach out because, you know how it gets at times with people, oh no, John's in Hollywood and, he's such a big guy within the industry. I can't reach out to him. What if I tell him the wrong thing, Because you do get that, people are scared of their own success, I guess, reach out to me. I'll assist you. I'll assist you with an email to John, asking the relevant questions, whatever you need to know. But one thing you shouldn't do is give up on this opportunity as a writer or an illustrator, because, as I said, to whoever's listening in South Africa, which, it's not a lot because everyone's just stubborn. So, but around the world, whoever's listening, I mean, it's an opportunity that's very hard to come across. All you have to do is submit your work. If the first time around you are lucky this is the sort of opportunities as we discussed. And, we talked about the gala. We talked about the book that follows, that you will get. We talked about the red carpet experience that you would get. We talked about the book signing that you would get. John and his team are going to assist you with launching your career. They want to see you succeed.
Exactly.
It is hard to get this kind of opportunities these days. Yes, there's not so much red tape in the creative space anymore, but to have such a start that only requires you to put in the time, effort, passion, organically send your work through. That's all that's required. That's all that's required, And if you do not come right the first time around, doesn't mean you stop. You submit again. You submit again. And the more the more you submit, consistency pays off, guys. Consistency always pays off. You will get your time. We all will get
and the
our
common
time.
thing that happens too is it's a term called proing out. And that means that you keep on writing, you keep on creating your art. And eventually, because you're just now creating your art or you're creating your stories, you start selling your work. And then once you get to a certain level, you no longer qualify for the contest. But at that point, you've launched your own career because you've done your creative, you've done your due diligence, and you've been writing and you've been doing your art. So that happens too, which is totally okay. But the main thing is your objective is to become an artist, a creative, whether it's as a writer or an illustrator. And that's the ultimate thing that we're trying to help you accomplish. Yeah. There's no other what do we get back? We get back the knowledge that we've helped create future careers for creatives. And that's what we're about. That's what L. Ron Hubbard is about when he created the contest.
Yeah. Love when you said your objective. Your objective as a creator in life right now is to pursue your dream, your goal.
Yeah.
And this is a great start. So please, continue to submit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anything above what we discussed, episode 1 with us, as I said at the start of the show, guys, it's still out there. It was released in mid-November. So please check out that to go into depth about what John and I spoke about. Today was about, getting to know more about now, the end of that quarterly journey, the gala that comes up. Just by the way, is there a gala after every quarter?
No, it's just once a year.
Just once off. It's just once a year. Okay,
please,
it's just once a
year. That's so much
I just had to ask it. I just had to ask you, get clarity on that. This should also just remind people out there there's no such thing as a stupid or dumb question. No matter who you're reaching out to, just ask whatever's on your mind.
There you go.
Right?
There you go.
And, we touched on that. We touched on what can come of it, if you succeed. Imagine, I'm just thinking to myself, imagine you're the type of person, imagine if you're sitting there at your desk, right? And every year, 10, 20 times a year, you just see this kino. Okay, now the judges don't like it. The next year, kino.
Nope.
Sooner or later, Jordan's going to be like, what? Let me check what this kino is about, because he just keeps entering, but he's never winning. So let me see what's up there, It's I'm just thinking, do you ever have those sort of situations?
No, because we never see names. So the names never make it to judges. So they have no idea. They will comment, if a person keeps on sending the same story and over again, they'll say, come on, guy, write another story. So because it's a contest for creativity, not this is my precious idea. A creative has hundreds of ideas. You just got to keep on writing and writing and writing, or illustrating.
Yeah. Okay, so you're writing in the dark. Which makes a lot of sense. Okay, John, from my end, I have covered all angles I would have wanted to cover.
I appreciate this very much. I'd like the opportunity, and hopefully, because of what we're doing here, we're able to get more entries from South Africa or from Africa in general, or for wherever you reach throughout this beautiful blue planet, and get more people.
Yeah. I'm not like, I'm not going to lose hope. Like I mentioned this last week to someone. I'm the type of guy that never loses hope.
Right.
I just never lose hope. And yes, okay, at the moment, I'm pushing out 2 to 4 podcasts, in a week. But this is like one of the ones which I want to push out, by Monday. And I want to send the link once again to the local media and be like, listen, listen, what's up here?
Good.
I just keep pushing. It's like what I just said. When you're going to see Kino, so that you can check, okay.
Good. I look forward to seeing the Kino coming up on all the media searches.
Yeah.
Anyways,
yeah. So we want to push it. We want to help each other, and that's what we're all here for.
I appreciate that. And I do hope I'm able to see you in April. Now I'm going to have to ring off here.
I will see you in April. I will see you in April.
Good. Well, I very much appreciate this opportunity to talk with you yet again. And I'm like up to my eyeballs now on all the different preps for this gala. There's so many moving parts. Just all kinds of things happening here. So I wanted to come on the show to make sure I make one final appeal that you then handle whatever you need to handle to get your visa so you make it.
Yeah. So, no, I appreciate that. I appreciate all the support, with assisting me, in coming to be a part of this phenomenal event next month. It's going to be great.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yes.
And once again, like I told you the first episode, just, keep doing what you're doing. It's great. It's great.
Great. And anybody has any questions, it's WritersOfTheFuture.com. And that's a one-stop shop. It's got, how to enter the contest, whether writer or illustrator, the history of the contest. We have a free writing workshop. I have my podcast. We have a blog. We have the history of the contest going back to the beginning. So you can find out more stuff just by looking at it and just getting more in-depth at what the contest is and what it's done. And we even have a free forum that you can join too as a writer. So we got it there for everybody. And I thank you very, very much, Kino, for having me back on as a guest.
Honors all, man. Thank you. Thank you for what you do, and thank you for all your contributions towards the creative space. Thank you so much. And we will definitely still stay in touch after this.
Yep.
And all the
good.
best.
I'm looking forward to getting that email from you saying, I got my visa.
Well, hopefully they just check because your name is actually there, like John Goodwin. Okay, so
good.
Just check it out.
Great.
That also gives you sort of like it's like the ripple effect, when you apply for a visa. If you think about it, when you get an invite, right, and then check who's this guy, and the guy at the embassy, of course he's from the States, so he's gonna go and check, okay, who's John Goodwin, gives you that indirect exposure also. Oh, check what this guy is doing,
Right.
Just throwing.
Okay, good. Well, thank you very much, Kino, and we will definitely be in touch.
All right. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.